Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Holland IQ 2022 Global Impact Summits. I'm Ashley, and I am a Senior Account Manager here at Holland IQ. As part of our Africa Summit, I am delighted to be joined by Ghislain Irakoze, who is the founder and CEO at Wastezon. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So first, I would like to invite Ghislain to give us a little more background on Wastezon, and then we'll dive into some Q&A to find out more about what you're doing in the space and what's happening in the region for those who are less familiar with it. So I'm just going to pull up your presentation right now, but over to you.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Ashley. So at Wastezon, we are redefining the future of urban mining. So what does that mean? So we are trying to create an innovative system where consumption these days can rely on the urban mining system, so which is contradictory to the current conventional system where manufacturers rely on extracting virgin materials. So for urban mining, we are innovating the supply chain, the reverse logistics in the way that consumers, manufacturers can be brought on board, ensuring that they can be part of this urban mining, also contributing to circular economy. So we launched the Wastezon in 2018 with just a simple mission of bringing on board consumers, manufacturers, and recyclers, providing them traceability services, which can assist or help them to generate a value additional benefits on different materiality products they have in an environmental friendly way. So ensuring that the process or the procedures of capturing mineralogical content or reusing such materials is done in an environmentally friendly way, in a way that it reduces carbon emissions. And our vision is simple and straightforward. We want to create a waste-free world by tapping into different innovative technologies, ensuring that those innovative technologies can create value for different users we have on the platform, hence from trash to cash, ensuring that all materials they transact on the platform are able to provide tangible economical benefits. So we launched Wastezon, the initial version in 2019, and this version connected users. So this could be any typical consumer, an individual as well as household members, connecting them with recyclers to transact electronic waste. So with Wastezon 1.0, which was just the initial version of Wastezon 2.0, we had managed to manage transaction of over 400 tons of electronic waste. And this is equivalent to over 2,600 tons of carbon emissions diverted. But in 2020, we revised the business strategy because we thought that before the electronic products becomes obsolete, there are other value chain actions which are taken by different consumers. For instance, we could find that repairing, reusing, as well as even remanufacturing. So we consulted different users that we have on the platform, as well as other potential users. We also brought on board manufacturers to understand what current limitations they face in ensuring that they get resources as manufacturers, and the consumers what kind of problems they face when they're transacting second-hand electronics. So we redesigned the business model in a way that we have two products which are separate, but at the end of the day, which are integrated in terms of a service provision and in terms of infrastructures, which enable one in each other to operate efficiently. So that's why we introduced Wastezon 2.0 and Wastezon X. So Wastezon 2.0 is designed for household and institutional consumers. So those consumers can transact quality and security vetted electronics via Wastezon 2.0. So those quality and security vetted products are transacted on the platform in the way that they can be traced through Wastezon X. Wastezon X is designed for manufacturers and recyclers in the way that they can actually organize buyback programs of different electronics which are being transacted on Wastezon 2.0. And at the end of the day, the general idea is that ensuring that consumers are able to resell or buy second-hand electronics which are quality and security vetted, ensuring that they can also be connected to manufacturers who can buy back their electronics on a specific time, hence keeping all those materials in a circular economy, so being reused, hence preventing them from going to landfills. So in terms of traction, so far we have managed to onboard over 1,800 consumers, as well as over 120 manufacturers and recyclers. So and beyond that, we have grown the company since 2020 from 4 employees to 12 employees. So in terms of materials transacted on the platform, we have moved from 400 tons of e-waste to over 700 tons of electronic products being transacted on the platform. And Wastezon right now is on launching at the specific market channels, which will allow us to expand to 5 countries in the next 2 years. So we're so excited to be part of this new movement coming in to innovate the urban mining system, which is environmental friendly and also providing economical incentives in the production system, which usually used to rely on conventional mining, which is not eco-friendly. So introducing you Wastezon team. So we have from different backgrounds, and we have a general or a group vision of creating a waste-free world. And the idea of creating Wastezon originated from one of our best friends who survived a garbage landslide accident. So this really inspired us to rethink the way innovations or technical innovations can be leveraged to create a waste-free world. So starting by Wastezon 1.0, and right now we are at Wastezon 2.0 and Wastezon X, ensuring that we are able to bring everyone on board in a way that we can create circular economy models which are innovative, which provide both economical and environmental benefits to different stakeholders who are part of circular economy. And as a matter of fact, we have recently launched Resourceful Fellowship, which provides a re-entry position in Wastezon, especially to young women, to assist them to familiarize themselves in climate tech industry, because we do believe the future of circular economy and green tech or climate tech in general should just be inclusive, because we do believe in the power of women to drive circular economy agenda, as well as in the create innovation which spearheads circular economy growth. And we're so glad that throughout this 4 years journey, we have been able to attract attention of different international organizations, as well as receive the global recognition from credible organizations such as AFDB, MHub Chicago, One Young World, Climate Kick, as well as Single Family Foundation. And recently have received Killing Calf Prize. So it's been 4 years, but where are we heading in the next 10 years? We want to see ourselves as a Pan-African company providing traceability solution, which allow household consumers and institutional consumers to work together with manufacturers and recyclers to ensure materiality flow in a way which brings environmental and economical benefits to each stakeholder which is active in the circular economy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was super helpful and really enlightening. And I know you guys are doing some really, really important work. And this obviously raised a ton of questions for me. So we're happy to get into the Q&A session. I'm wondering if we can start a little bit more at the beginning. So would you be able to just talk in a little more detail about the customer needs you're responding to? So why is an organization like Wastezon needed right now?
Okay, great. So we do have a wide range of users, and they have like a separate and completely totally different problems or challenges they're facing. I'll just get started with manufacturers. So manufacturers are so interested in joining the urban mining. So for instance, they just want to reduce costs. They kind of like huge costs they face when acquiring materials like virgin materials. But at the end of the day, even though they want to join up a mining system, they struggle to know what exact mineralogical content or materiality provenance changes they can expect from different materials they can bring on board. For instance, if they want to bring like a specific laptop back at their manufacturing site to be repurposed, they want to know what are the specific provenance genes. So they need real-time data on materiality provenance changes. And beyond that, they want also have like a price transparency. And they're not even the one struggling or maybe facing that specific issue. Even consumers, they also need price transparency. And this price transparency is lacking in this value chain. So for instance, if they bring back that laptop, besides getting real-time data on materiality, what exact value you're going to get from that specific laptop? So, and this poses a great challenge. How do we create price transparency in this value chain? And beyond that, how can they organize reverse logistics? So, in a value chain which is somehow split in different ways. So how can they create a reverse logistics system, ensuring that all the value chain actors are so connected? So basically, we're trying to define the way that we can provide real-time data on mineralogical content of different electronics, ensuring that stakeholders can be connected and creating price transparency. So that's how we're able to generate insights on materiality levels of those electronics, hence price according to the world pricing system of metal exchanges, hence creating price transparency for both actors, so consumers and manufacturers.
Thank you. That is really helpful explanation. So going off of that and thinking about price transparency, real-time data, and being able to generate insights, would you say that is what you guys are doing differently in the space, or what sets Wastezon apart from other folks who are doing similar work? Or are there other folks doing similar work?
Yeah, sure, they are. I mean, circular economy itself has been attracting a lot of attention, and I'm so glad to see that there are other companies coming in this industry, also bringing disruptive innovations. But most of the innovation we saw here in the market are more of like providing direct market linkages between manufacturers, recyclers, and with household. So always what we're doing different is bringing more data infrastructures on board to facilitate actors in this industry to make informed decisions, either before purchasing those electronic products, they're able to know mineralogical content data, which allow them to make informed decisions. And such mineralogical data also inform price transparency, which is also another critical issue that we saw that like a majority of the companies are struggling to solve. And beyond that, we're creating a reverse logistics system. So how can we ensure that those materials can be transported from like highly regulated transboundary movements of different materials? So we're creating a way that could be traced for the value chain. Hence, creating this efficient reverse logistic, which is needed by manufacturers, globally.
Okay, that's really helpful. So thinking about that, it definitely sounds like in this process, there are a lot of moving parts and you have to make sure everything's working in tandem so that things run smoothly. So that leads me to my next question. I'm just really curious, what would you say is the biggest challenge that Wastezon faces? Is it kind of this process and making sure everything's connected, or is it just kind of getting your product out to the masses? What's the biggest challenge?
or I think you figured it out. You have already figured out. Yeah, changing the consumption behavior is really a great challenge, especially in the circular economy, where we are disrupting the whole linear economy, which many people are accustomed to. So it's been really challenging, in the last 4 years. So how do we bring people on board, especially consumers, because consumers are somehow environmentally conscious. So we have to revisit the way we brand ourselves. So ensuring that on the very offerings we are communicating, there is something capturing the interest of consumers. So, for instance, we have been able to brand ourselves as a company providing economical benefits. So, for instance, consumers are able to transact their second-hand electronics with manufacturers and then get incentives, as well as even get money from their electronic products, which otherwise could have end up in landfills. So that's something which is really attractive, and it's a very offering. And by doing that, for those that are environmental conscious, they're able to know what kind of carbon emissions they are equivalently diverted by doing that. So yeah, changing consumption behavior, it's really long journey, and we are not even done yet. It's really a challenge we're facing. But beyond that, there's also lack of policies, especially here on African continent. So there are no policies in place, especially in transboundary movements of electronic materials. So which is also something which somehow might scare manufacturers to join the platform. So and these policy issues also create a convenience on our end in terms of operations, like setting up such as logistical providers, or bringing all those logistical providers and even formulating the whole reverse logistic chain. So it also becomes problematic. So yeah, basically, yeah, changing consumption behavior as well as policies which are not yet enacted. So that's the kind of major challenges we are facing right now.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I think that leads me to kind of my next set of questions about the market. So I imagine kind of thinking about policies in different countries is probably a little bit of a headache trying to understand that and bring it all together. So I know you mentioned earlier that Wastezon is going to be expanding into 5 different countries. So I was wondering if you could just speak a little bit more about which countries, if you're able to share, which countries you're hoping to expand into and why those countries.
Okay, great. It's not confidential at all. So we are interested to launch Wastezon into 5 major markets in Africa. So, the reason is that it's geographical, as well as maybe demographical reasons. So, because those markets are really huge in terms of market size, in terms of different players who are part of those markets. So we are interested to expand to Kenya. So Kenya is the largest market in East Africa. So we're also interested to launch Wastezon in Egypt. And Egypt is just the largest market in the North Africa, like in the whole Northern African region. We're also interested to launch Wastezon in Nigeria, which is also the hugest market in West Africa, as well as South Africa, which is also the hugest market in Southern African region. So we have already done some market research, and right now we are trying to see the way we're going to prioritize our expansion strategy, because it has to be step by step in those countries. So generally the market is becoming so exciting. So we are seeing the interest of manufacturers to shift the reliance on virgin materials to more abandoned materials. And beyond that, even though in Africa policies are not yet enacted, we're also seeing the different movement of right to repair in the UK as well as in the EU at large. So, which is pressuring manufacturers to think about what kind of business model they want to adopt. And we see the future as, we see urban mining as the future, because we don't have any other option. Resources are finite. So we need to rethink the way that we capitalize on already existing resources. Hence, it's our priority at Wastezon to rethink the way that we can capture or expand into those bigger markets, which will give us like a more ability and more structure to expand in other remaining markets in Africa.
Got it. So I know that Africa as a continent is massive, obviously, and there are lots of different things about different regions. So I'm wondering, given those 5 different regions that you're hoping to enter into, what would you say is the biggest challenge to enter different regions? Is it understanding different policies of different regions? Is it stuff around, different languages and language barriers? What would you say is the biggest challenge?
Yeah, sure. Policies do vary from one region to one region, but likely a majority of countries in Africa are somehow grouped in different regional integration blocks. So, for instance, here Rwanda is part of an East African community. So, I would say like the environment so far, like business environment in majorly in all those regions in Africa has been really developing in the last decade due to those regional trading blocks. So that's those regional trading blocks are somehow facilitating movements of goods and services, which is allowing companies to expand throughout the regions. So the reason why we even strategizing accordingly was to actually ensuring if we are in Nigeria, we can be able to expand to ECOWAS, which is one of the largest trading blocks in West African region. So in terms of like trade policies in a neighboring environment, I mean, things are not yet there, but we are seeing like a lot of changes, and it's also promising. But some of the challenges, I guess, it's how you integrate in those markets, because you need to understand that consumption behaviors vary from one culture to another culture. So you need to do a significant market research to understand what specific changes you are observing in that market, and hence tailor the product or the business model depending on the market you're expanding to. Yeah, but otherwise, some of the challenges might be on how technology itself is being adopted throughout the continent. So we have seen like increasing numbers of people owning smartphones, people getting on board and using internet. So I think it's really promising to see the adoption. And one of the key interesting things that in the next 20 years, Africa will have like a largest workforce. So the largest one in the world, and the majority of such largest workforce will be young people. You see, this it's talent. Those will be just the talents to tap into. So, and one of the key challenge, such talent is not really exposed to different resources that might be needed to compete on world level. And we believe this is a great challenge. Like governments in Africa should just really start to think the way that they can invest into such talent to equip them with knowledge, especially the digital knowledge they might need to compete in this world market. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I'm just wondering, kind of to your point, with the younger generation kind of coming up with, smartphones in their hands, the Gen Z group, do you think that's going to drastically change consumption behavior?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I do believe, like as uh, different market trends are being shaped by technology. Yeah, and in Africa we have like really youngest generations, and they're the future consumers. Of course, I see. I'm optimistic about the market change in terms of like adopting as quick as possible innovative technologies. This really will really drive, yeah, like market share as well as like influence the market adoption rates we have in Africa. So that's it. Like some companies should not expand in Africa. They might miss out in terms of like getting the market share in the next 20 or 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting kind of how technology is changing over time and how quickly it's changing over time as well. Um,
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So I know that we talked a little bit at the beginning. You touched on the future of Wastezon and where it's going, but I'm just wondering if you could share a little bit more about maybe 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. Where do you hope the company is?
So great, yeah. So besides expanding to different countries we're targeting, we also need to renovate the product itself. So for instance, right now, we do focus on one specific materiality type. So it's electronics. So we see ourselves even expanding in terms of like a materiality focus. So we want to even venture into textiles. How can we show traceability of textile materials? So beyond that, we also need to venture in plastic materials because it's also another great challenge. So how can we show reusable packaging systems are stabilization trace in a way. So and beyond that, we're also interested in agri-food system traceability of food system products. So because we do believe besides widening our services, this will also bring users, different types of users on board, and also allow us to expand our revenue streams and satisfy our investors. So and besides that, speaking about investment, we are targeted to grow our company. Hence, we need some investors on board, ensuring that they can bring their expertise and funds to fuel the growth of the company. And besides investment, product growth as well as market expansion. So we see ourselves as a team which wants to grow rapidly in terms of having like diverse talents, which can implement or put in action the vision we have. So right now we have tried to create different separate teams in the company, having a software engineering team, material science team, which is allowing us to understand materiality levels of different electronic products. We also have like a business development team. So we want to grow them and have like even a data science team, which we're also looking forward to creating. So because we do believe companies achieve like monumental growth by tapping into committed and vision-driven teams. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I think that's a great place to leave it. It has been so wonderful to talk to you and hear more about how things are developing at Wastezon. Thank you for taking the time to share more about your work, and we look forward to seeing how things develop in the future.
Yeah, thanks Ashley for having me and Wastezon, and so inviting everyone to even be on board here on Wastezon by downloading our apps on our website. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.